Okay, number 8 on page 598. This time you're trying to find the measure of arc DE, which is the same thing as the measure of its angle. So let's see, we have the length and we could figure out the circumference. So if we can do the length over the circumference, that'll give us a fraction of the entire circle or a proportion or portion of the entire circle, and we could set it up like that. So let's find circumference first. Circumference is going to be 2 times pi times r, or 20 pi. We'll leave it like that, and then we'll type in our calculator as 20 pi and use the pi button to get as exact as we can. They told me that the arc length is 8.73. So if you think about it as the length, the small part, 8.73, over the circumference. If you're going to use your calculator for that 20 pi, you need to use parentheses around it if your calculator doesn't have a fraction button. So 8.73 divided by 20 pi is 0.1389. And then it keeps going after that. So that's the percent of the circle that there is covered in this angle or this sector. So if I know there's 360 degrees total, take 360 degrees times that percentage, and it tells me my angle is 50.02, so we're going to say 50 degrees rounded. So the angle measures 50 degrees. That means the measure of the arc DE is also 50 degrees. And we can still use our general equation where we do part over whole to do it. So if you don't want to have to try to think through it on your own, as far as coming up with, do I multiply, do I divide, what number goes where, you can go back to your default equation if you get stuck. The default equation was the part over the whole. So the length of the arc divided by the whole, which is the circumference, is equal to the angle, that's what we're trying to find. The arc and the angle have the same measure over 360 degrees. So again, when you get stuck, you can use that backup equation as a way to help you figure out what math to do. So 360 times 8.73 is going to equal 20 pi times my angle. It's going to do the same math I did before, but it tells you what math to do. So 360 times 8.73 is 3,142.8, and that's going to equal 20 pi times my angle. Then I need to divide by 20 pi to get the angle by itself. Again, if you're going to use your calculator for that, you need to put the parentheses around the 20 pi. So 3142.8 divided by 20 pi. And I get the same angle as before, 50.019. So my angle is 50 degrees. So a couple different ways you can think through it. You can think through it as a portion of the circle and then multiply or divide accordingly. Or you can set up your equation, which will always work for these problems. Part over whole. We did the part of the circumference over the circumference, and the part of the degrees over the degrees.